got these 2 letters in my mailbox, and one of them was this notice of outstanding warrant, trial court, Massachusetts District Court Department, Commonwealth versus David Mabarty, and the case known as David M. Mabarty in all capital letters. License suspended, operating MV with subsequent offense. I mean, this is a notice of warrant, but this is not the warrant. You know.
Okay. So who issued the warrant?
There's an initials of a clerk magistrate on here, but just an MK, and there's nobody's name and no signature. So I don't know.
So, but it issued from, you've got the courthouse, and that's all you've got?
Yeah, it just says a notice of warrant, this courthouse. It says, you may be arrested at any time.
So what are you planning on doing about it?
Well, I mean, the ironic part about it is I was there in the court that day, and I actually put in a notice to, a handwritten notice.
Oh, okay. I remember.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
So
and I wrote.
Yeah. So what happened is David went to court. He walked in. He said, and Mark Hollingsworth is on the call with us. He did the same thing a year ago. He walked into court. He told them, look, I'm here. I'm on time. Who's bringing a claim against me? And nobody came forward. So Mark walked out. In your case, the court security told you to sit down. Go ahead and tell that part of the story, and then what you did.
The man acting as judge, they call the name, right? And so what they had done was they apparently had assigned a public defender. And I've been focusing on getting my son and dealing with that situation all this time. So this has really been secondary.
The warrant issued because you went to court and you wanted to be heard on time. And the man acting as judge told you to sit down and wait your turn.
He told me to sit down or leave.
Okay.
And so I left. But before I had left, I had put in a notice that I required 60 days to obtain proper counsel. I hand wrote the notice. I had it stamped in, and so the clerk actually brought it. The woman acting as clerk filed it into the case and brought it up to the judge. I watched her do it, and then when they called the name, I said, I'm here for that matter. They said, sit down until your lawyer shows up. And my notice was putting in to obtain proper counsel. So I had said, hey, the guy cut me off before I finished saying anything. He cut me off. He said, sit down or leave the court. So, I was actually, I was really feeling kind of crappy. So I said, you know what, I'm going to leave. So I left. And then, a week later, I got this in the mail saying that, and it says basically the court has issued a warrant for your arrest. Okay, so now the building has actually issued a warrant for my arrest. All right, and you are subject to arrest at any time. And here's how we're going to tell you how to come in.
What makes you think the court is a building?
Well, court is a verb. Actually, it can be a verb, so it could be, it is a noun. There's a court building. There is a court building.
Well, the party bringing the suit, it's their court. So whether it's a person or a man, it's that person's suit, that makes the court. The building is the courthouse.
Has this guy let him know who he is?
He's put notices in.
He's who you are, that you're a man?
Yes,
is there a notice in there?
I put in the notice of idiot, the notice of common law, notice of grand jury court of record, notice of, and with the exhibits too that I had kind of gathered.
Okay, well, then after getting this piece of paper in the mail, I guess reiterate that you're a man and that they're in error, that they're still sending it to somebody that they think is a legal person, I guess.
I could write them a letter saying, are you looking for the man or the legal person or the legal name, and to send me a copy of the warrant.
How about putting a notice into the court saying, I, man, declare I was before court on said date, on whatever that date was, and that you have issued this warrant in error. You've made an inadvertent error by issuing a warrant for I, a man, when I was actually there. As a matter of fact, you told me to sit down or leave. And so I thought that was an option, and I left.
Yeah, I think that's, I think that's a good idea.
The warrant is issued because you failed to appear. You didn't say that, and I don't have it in front of me, but that's typically why they issue the warrant, because you failed to appear. So you write them a notice, and let him know. I was there. I was before the court, and the man acting, the man Henry, who was acting as judge, told me I could sit down or I could leave. So I chose option 2, and I walked out. That's it. I came before the court, and he gave me 2 options. I chose one, and that's it.
Gus, did you appear when you went for your case? Did you appear?
I don't appear. I just show up.
You only appeared as a man, right?
I don't use the word appear. I just say I, in the image of God, am before the court.
There you go.
So, I, man, was before the court on that day and did speak with the man, Henry, who was acting as judge in that courthouse. And Henry did say that I had 2 options, to sit or to leave. So I chose. I
got an idea. It just popped into my head. Why don't you go down to this guy that's speaking, go down to the courthouse tomorrow at 9 o'clock, show up and appear, and, hey, I'm here. Is there any man who, who's the man who claims I've done wrong?
If you show up and they've got a warrant out for your arrest, they're going to arrest you.
Yeah, I thought that's what they might do.
Put the notice in there and tell them that, let them know that you require the warrant to vacate. That's it.
Okay. And because, that makes sense. It's the truth. That's exactly what happened. I was there. The guy did say sit down or leave.
Tell it like it happened.
Yeah. Also, with regard to the public offender, it's more like
yeah.
Right?
It's a separate issue. Go ahead.
They did this now to me twice. I put in the notice that I require no representation and no title, and they assigned a public defender, saying that I was saying that the defendant was indigent. Because I pulled the case file, and in the case file it said public defender such and such was assigned to the case because defendant was indigent. I don't even know what that means. Indigent.
Well, indigent means without money, without cash in their world. Okay,
yeah. Well, I'm not indigent. Number one. Okay, I'm getting.
Don't address their stuff. Okay, they issued a public defender for you, right? You let them know that you're a man and you're incompetent in legalese, and that you require no assistance. Go ahead, keep talking. I just lost my train of thought.
No, I was just saying. This was interesting because when I was in bondage and brought before the guy, I kind of walked up there, and I was really out of it. The only thing I had in my head was the 2 or 3 days I had spent, watching the stuff that you did on the YouTube there, and going through. I am a man, an idiot before court, and I require no title and representation. I invoked CalmInLaw, and
you require what?
No title and no representation.
All right, so you rephrase that to say, I, man, am before court without title and without representation, an idiot to legalese and to the customs of a legal society, and I am before the said court to settle any controversy with my fellow man.
Right.
I require the man to come forward who says I do wrong, that I may settle all claims and move on with my life. That's it.
That was fundamentally the
just repeat that. Yeah.
That was fundamentally the gist of what I did say, and before it came up to repeat again, and this was at they had an arraignment, and this place is like a meat grinding machine. This particular place.
It's funny. You could kind of also say that if this pertains to a legal matter at this time, I will not be able to aid and assist this court in any manner. You could add that in there.
If it pertains to a legal matter, I would not be able to what?
If this is illegal, if this court setting pertains to a legal matter, unfortunately at this time, I will not be able to aid and assist this court in any manner. I would not be able to address this court in a proper manner. It's just that simple, that kind of stuff.
I see. When I said that, when I'm an idiot before this court, basically what we just said, when I said that, that's when, at that particular time, they assigned the public defender to the case. So, in other words, instead of interpreting what I said is that it's outside the jurisdiction of man and it applies to defendants and persons, right? He interpreted it as that you can't
read his mind. You don't know what he interpreted. All you see is a piece of paper before you, and it's got some words on it. Put a notice into the court that you are a man, and that you know of no law that requires you to acquire representation or to be competent in legalese, and that you're just there to settle whatever the controversy is. That's it. If there is a law that requires a man to be competent in legalese, in the customs of the legal society, then you're required to know what that law is.
So if any man wishes to act on my behalf, he's going to be liable for act. You can tell the public defender standing right next to you, say, "Oh, good. So you're a man who's going to act on my behalf, and you're going to accept all liabilities for whatever happens, good or bad, right? You're going to accept full liability for everything that happens from this point forward. Is that correct? If you wish to act on my behalf, you wish to act for me, good. Then whatever accolades or criticism that occurs due to your faulty acting or your wonderful acting, you're going to bear full liability, right? You're going to bear it fully, right? Good or bad, you're going to bear all liability, correct?
So any man or woman who wishes to act on my behalf will bear full liability.
Oh, yeah.
That makes sense because I didn't ask for anybody to act on my behalf, and I don't want anybody to act on my behalf.
Of course it makes sense. It makes sense.
Carl, that's one of the first notices you had me put in when I first started doing this stuff, before I went into court.
Do you think I should notice the public defender directly then? Because I got a letter in the mail from her as well.
When you give a notice, you're giving a notice to mankind. So if you just want to make sure they get a copy of it. That's all.
I see. Yeah.
What you can do is you can send them a letter.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to, because I got a letter from her, which I just got. I actually haven't even opened it.
Did you get it from her or like the pine cone?
Yeah, he got it. He got it from the public defender. So send her a letter back.
Yeah, I don't even know what it says. It's interesting, because I just got it. Let's see what she.
So right after the notice, put a cover letter together. Send it to her.
Yeah, as you know, this office has been appointed to represent you in the above referred matter at such and such court.
So you're represented by an office.
I'm represented by an office. Is that possible?
Wonderful.
Sure it can. Only God knows the limitations of what can and cannot happen. So it might sound ludicrous, but it could happen.
Well, it probably happens all the time.
Well, God only knows.
So, yeah, so I'm going to put in a couple of notices, and my guess is they probably won't respond.
A non-response is a response.
Yeah, I guess it is.
It's like free will, okay? You got the will to choose to do one thing or another, and if you decide not to choose, you've still made a choice.
Uh-huh. So it's like saying...
And 100% of what get you in trouble in your life is because you failed to do something. Because you failed to do something is why you're in trouble, not because what you did is what you failed to do.